Welcome back to POV Italian Cooking in association with Simply Good Food TV, where today we are making pasta e fagioli. Now before we get started, take a quick second and click that subscribe button in YouTube so you don't miss a video, and download that Simply Good Food TV app. Now today we are making pasta e fagioli, which literally means pasta and beans. Now my version of this soup is quick to make, and honestly the prep takes longer than it does to actually make the soup. Now this dish has become extremely popular over the years, and it's even mentioned in a Dean Martin song, "When the stars make you drool just like pasta fazool, that's amore." Now this soup was originally thought of as an Italian peasant dish because it's made up of almost entirely very inexpensive ingredients. Now over the years that's kind of changed a little bit, and it's now considered an Italian American comfort food. Now like most other Italian dishes, this one does vary by region, with different regions using different kinds of pasta or beans, or including some ingredients while excluding others. If you look at the recipes from the different regions, you'll see that some regions completely omit the use of tomatoes. Others don't use any meat, or they use a different kind of meat. I actually use pancetta in my dish. I've been talking long enough. Let's get started. So let's take a look at the ingredients for our pasta e fagioli, and I did have to write my ingredients down for this one. I try not to do this a lot, but there's a lot of ingredients here. Now even though there's a lot of ingredients, this is actually a really quick dish to make. Once you get through your prep, everything goes real quick. So let's talk about our ingredients. I have 2 cans of cannellini beans. Now you do want to rinse off all of that slimy goo that comes with them, so pour that down the sink, give them a quick rinse. I have a 1 quart plus 1 cup of a chicken stock, and you want to use a low sodium chicken stock because if not, it's going to be real salty, and we want to control the salt flavor in our dish. We're also going to add 2 cups of ditalini pasta, and this is the little circles. So we'll add these right at the end. We have 1 can of the Italian peeled tomatoes. Now we are going to puree these, so you can see I've got my food processor out. We're going to use 1.5 the carrots. You can probably get away with 1 carrot. These aren't very big, so I'm going to use 1.5. 1 stalk of celery, 1 medium onion. We'll probably use 4 cloves of garlic. About 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I also have 4 ounces of cubed pancetta. And then for our seasonings, I have 2 sprigs of fresh oregano, 2 sprigs of fresh rosemary, and a couple fresh bay leaves. Now another ingredient that we want to add to our dish is we're going to need 2 cups of water. Now the water I'm going to use today comes from Pure H2O. Check them out online at pureh2online.com. Great company. They got a great history. Check them out. They're a female minority owned company. Really a great organization. I'll put a link to their site in the description below. Now I'm going to go ahead, break away, rearrange some stuff. So for our vegetables, like I said, we want to get these finely chopped because pasta e fagioli is a soup. So don't chop your fingers. Now if you see me start crying, it's because this red onion's a little harsh. And again, we want to do it as finely as we can without going too crazy with it. That's probably close enough before I chop my finger off. And you guys see my insanely poor knife skills. We'll put that little piece of onion to the side. So that's about good enough for our onions. So what I'm going to do is just kind of get these out of the way. For celery, same thing. 1 stalk of celery. We are going to cut this up into we'll say semi-fine. The most important thing is that everything's about the same size, same thickness. That's our celery. Our carrots, same thing. We're going to chop these up finely, but we're only going to need about 1.5 of these carrots. We'll get rid of this piece. Get it out of here. That's all we're going to need. So we want to make sure that our carrots are small enough to inject the flavor yet still get done. So that's probably going to be good as far as size. Now you guys know that my knife skills aren't what they should be, so be forgiving in the comments. So again, just try to get everything the same size, and every now and then if you get a piece that's not, just make it right. We have to get our garlic ready and puree our tomatoes. And then we are going to be ready to cook our pasta fagioli, or fagioli. So I'm gonna prep our garlic, but before we get started, I actually ended up using one of the carrots. You know, once I got them all chopped up and I put them in the bowl next to that single stalk of celery, I thought, one carrot ought to cut it. So just go back to one carrot. You can throw in that other half carrot, won't bother it at all. The great thing is, this is your dish. You're making this at home. You can make it however you want. So for my garlic, what we're gonna do, just gonna crush it real quick to be able to get the skins off a little bit easier. I like to cut those woody ends off. Now some people will leave those woody ends on. I just don't. Just preference, really. A little bit of that garlic skin. You know, the garlic, when you cut it, it really has a great oil. The oil is what really gives garlic its flavor. And it's really sticky, which makes it fun when you've crushed your garlic, which releases the oil, and then you're also trying to get the skins off and trying to get everything set up and edited down. It can make things a lot of fun. Now I do want to finely mince my garlic, so I'm going to go ahead and get this done. The last thing we have to do, and I promise this is the last thing, we have to get our tomatoes pureed. Again, I like to use the canned Italian San Marzano peeled tomatoes, and you can use these real easy to make a sauce. I always have 3 or 4 cans in my pantry. So let's go ahead and get these in our food processor. And now it'll help if I have the blade in here. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but if I dump them in right now, there's not going to be a whole lot of pureeing going on. So I'm going to grab that blade real quick. So I'm going to see if I can get these tomatoes in here without making too much of a mess. Woohoo, look at that. Let's get our lid on. Pulse it a few times just to make sure if there are any chunks in there that they settle and get chopped up. It's time to start cooking. I'm starving. I couldn't be more excited. I'm going to get some stuff rearranged. When I come back, we'll be set over at our stove. It's time to start cooking, my favorite time of the day. So what we're going to do, I apologize for clearing my throat so much. I'm battling a cold. So anyway, we're going to use about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Get those down in our pan. I've got my heat set to medium, and we're coming in with our 4 ounces of cubed pancetta. So what we're going to do is now I'm just going to let this go until it browns, or at least starts to get brown. That's probably going to take 3 or 4 minutes. You can hear that pancetta sizzling away. Now, it's not quite brown yet, but that's okay. Now, what the pancetta does in this dish is it's one of the flavoring agents. I'll turn my heat down just a little bit, but it's just one of the many things that injects flavor into this wonderful soup. So now what I'm going to do is I've got that 1 carrot, it's going in, 1 stalk of celery, it's going in. Now, if you remember, this was a pretty big onion. I'm probably not going to use all this. That's probably enough. Now, we're going to let this cook for about 5 minutes because we want these vegetables to start to soften just a little bit. They're not going to get super soft in this amount of time, but they will soften up a little bit. It has been 5 minutes. So now what we're going to do, in goes our garlic. That's 4 or so cloves of garlic. You can go a little heavier, you can go a little lighter. It just really depends on your taste. And I'm going to hold my bay leaves out, but this is a couple sprigs of thyme and a couple sprigs. You know what? That's enough rosemary. That's a pretty long one. What the heck? Go for it, right? Throw our herbs right in there. Now what we're going to do, we're going to let this go for 3 minutes. And why did I throw my herbs in now? Well, that heat is going to activate them. You can already smell them just in that quick. Woo! Smells great. So we're going to let this go for 2-3 minutes. So it's been about 2 minutes since we added our herbs and our garlic, and the smell coming up out of this pot is to die for. So now what we are going to do, we're going to add our chicken stock. So we have 1 quart plus 1 cup of chicken stock. All that goes right in the pool. Our 2 bay leaves that we held out, those go into the pool. Our tomato puree, right in with everything. And our beans. Now what we're gonna, forgot one thing. Forgot our water. You add 2 cups of water. Today I'm using Pure H2O. Check them out online, pureh2online.com. I'm just going to pour those right in. You can see this gives us our wonderful broth for our soup. Let's get this stirred up. Now we just have to wait for our wonderful soup to come to a boil. Now our soup is almost to a boil, just barely not boiling. I'm going to take this opportunity to add some salt and pepper. Now I like to use sea salt whenever possible. Use a lot of kosher salt as well. So just salt and pepper to taste. Everybody has a little different taste for salt and pepper. You know how your family likes it, so add that much. Now we're almost to a boil here. You can see around the edges, it's just starting to bubble just a little bit. Now you want this in a nice full boil before you add your pasta. Our soup is now boiling. Now I did take a quick taste. Needed a little bit more salt. Put some more salt in there. Some folks will prepare their pasta and then dump it into their soup. I don't like to do that. I like to put my pasta in my soup dry. That way it gets injected with the flavor and kind of helps thicken this up a little bit. Again, we want it to be a soup. Now that was 2 cups of, now I can never pronounce this right, dilatili pasta. I know I killed it. So now this does take about 10 minutes for this pasta to get to al dente. We're gonna let this simmer. I'm gonna turn my heat down about medium heat. I will come back and stir this every now and then, but now we just gotta wait. We gotta have patience. This soup is incredibly quick to make, even though, we have to wait another 10 minutes before we get it dig in. It really takes more time to cut up your vegetables, to get everything ready, than it does for this soup to cook. Now I've just gotta quit stirring it and let it go. Pretty soon we're gonna be eating. So our pasta has been cooking for, 10, 11 minutes. I just checked it and it is done. Cheated a little bit. You can also see, in addition to the pasta being flavored by the soup, the pasta kind of acts as a thickening agent. You can see that our soup is a little bit thicker than it was. Now, what I'm trying to do here is I'm going to fish out my herbs. Now, there are going to be some stray pieces of rosemary. I'll just kind of fish them out as I plate this up. But you want to get your rosemary, your bay leaves, and your twigs of thyme out of your soup. They flavor it. They've done their job. And it's time for them to be retired. Well, I tell you what, this is ready to eat, and the smell is incredible. If you're going to have soup, you got to have a wonderful bread. And earlier today, I made some Sicilian bread, which you can see in a future episode of POV Italian Cooking. So just keep an eye on my channel. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut me off a couple slices here. I love this butter. This butter has a little bit of sea salt in it. Just injects a little bit more flavor into an already super tasty bread. I'm going to need 2 pieces. Going to need 2 pieces with this. It's just too daggone good. The soup is smelling great. I'm starving, hadn't had dinner yet. Let's see how our wonderful soup turned out. Pull this over to me. Yum, yum. Oh my gosh. It's good. This pasta fagioli is so quick. Doesn't, some soups you gotta let them simmer for hours. You don't have to add anything crazy to thicken it. That's the job of the pasta. Oh my gosh, just dip that bread in there. What a combination. You know what I forgot? Everything's better with parm. That's going to make it a great soup even better. Oh my gosh, how could I forget the parm? It was sitting right next to me. I'm starving, I'm losing my mind. So with that, again, thanks everyone for watching. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google+. Don't forget to click that subscribe button in YouTube. Download that Simply Good Food TV app. Again, thanks for watching. And ciao.